I need to say anything else.
Inspirational talk. Everyday people. Inspirational talk. Intentional choices. Inspirational talk. Extraordinary outcomes. It's Inspirational Talk with Toneal. Now here's your host, international award-winning author and filmmaker, Toneal M. Jackson.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be when you guys are tuning in to this inspirational talk with Toneal. I am your host, Toneal M. Jackson, and I am so glad to be here. It is another inspirational talk with Toneal, and I am so excited about this, guys. Let me tell y'all why I'm excited. I'm excited for a couple reasons, and I'm trying to get my little self together, but I'm excited for a couple reasons. Like, you all know that this is pretty much like the countdown to the gala, right? So we are, believe it or not, 5 weeks away from the 7th annual APS Awards Gala. And so a couple years ago, what I started doing to kind of help build the anticipation for the gala is interviewing the honorees. Like every week, we interview a different set of honorees so that it helps you to kind of see what you have to look forward to on that night, which is officially Thursday, August 24th, this year, 2023. And so last year, I had the privilege and pleasure of interviewing the Artistic Visionary of the Year, Aretha Misrespect Tatum. And this year, I have some of the ladies from our cohort from the APS Writers Society this year. They are here in the building. They are, well, I can't say in the building, but they're in the studio because they're not with me physically, but they are in the studio. And so I am so excited to have them join with me. And so I'm asking you guys, as you all come on and come into the room, to be sure to make sure that you like and tag the video, like and share the video, tag somebody that you believe will benefit from the broadcast. And so I am going to bring to you to join me. Y'all help you, girl. It's a day. It feels like it's Friday, even though it's Thursday. But I am bringing none other to the camera two of our ladies from this year's Writer Society cohort, Miss Deatrice Carter, who is not new to me or Inspirational Talk, as well as Miss Michele Girard. Hello, ladies. How are you doing?
Good
Awesome.
evening.
So I am so excited to have you guys on here, and I'm gonna start off slow. I ain't gonna take y'all too fast. We are gonna start at the beginning, right? So in the event that somebody has been under a rock and they don't know who you ladies are, Deatrice, I will start with you, and they definitely have to be under a rock as it pertains to us because you've been on a number of projects with me. You've been interviewed by me before, and so if they don't know, why don't you start by introducing yourself and letting people know who you are?
Hi, I'm Deatrice Carter. I live in Dallas, Texas. I have a lot of Chicago connections. To Neil being a wonderful Chicagoan. I don't
Yes,
know how to say
that's it.
it. Okay, and I am a mom, a grandmom. I'm a singer. I'm an author. I'm a nurse. I work at a hospital. I've been working in the medical field for uh, a long time, a long time, and I'm very excited about this anthology. I worked with Toneal last year and part of the year before on another anthology, which was wonderful, and this one is wonderful. And we are just so excited to be here and to get things going, and excited about the gala because it's 5 weeks, and big things happen at the APS Gala. So I'm excited.
Man,
I'm
listen.
really excited. Yes.
Man, listen, and let me tell you why I'm excited, because we've just been joined by one of our other anthology partners, I want to call her, like Miss Sharon Lockhart. So, and this is another Texan. She's not from Dallas, she's from Houston, but we are so happy to have you here with us, Sharon. And before we have you introduce yourself, come on, Miss Michele, take that microphone, do what you do, and introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are.
Hi, everybody. I am Michele Girard. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I am a clinical director of one agency. I also own my own. So I do a lot of mental health therapy all day. I work a lot with vets, mental health specialists. Mental health is my specialty: anxiety, depression, women's issues, traumas. I'm excited about the gala. This will be my first gala. This is my first anthology, second book. I'm really excited about all the things that are happening. I currently live in North Carolina, but I'm originally from New York.
All right. Well, welcome, Miss Michele. So glad to have you on. Juliet Moon says that she is also from Chicago. So hello to Miss Juliet, Miss Lisa, Tracy, to Julie. Everybody that is watching, thank you all so much for tuning in. And be sure you guys tag some folks, get some folks in the room, because this is going to be an exciting interview. And last but certainly not least is Miss Sharon Lockhart. She's also someone who is not new to me. She is not new to APS, and she is not new to Inspirational Talk, but we want to still yield the floor all the same. Miss Sharon, go ahead and let everybody know who you are. Who is Sharon Lockhart? Go ahead and tell us.
Hello, everybody.
Great.
Toneal, thank you for having me. Hello, ladies. Nice to see you face to face, so to speak. So, as Toneal said, I am Sharon Lockhart, and I am from Chicago, Illinois, Chicago native. Love my city. I currently reside in Houston. So, Sharon Lockhart, I am a pastor. I am an educator by profession. I'm a certified life coach, mindset coach. I am a mentor to youth and women. I have a lot of hats that I wear. I am an author. I have a book that I published through Toneal. She was a great inspiration, a great help with that. Also partner with these ladies in writing an anthology, and I will soon be a community chaplain at Fifth.
Okay, say it again. A community chaplain, and
Yes,
finish your sentence.
as of August the 5th.
Yay. So we are so excited. And let me tell you all who are watching this, like, I'm so excited to be able to have the honor to talking to these ladies again. It has been a few months since we have been able to see each other. We've been a part of this anthology. So just kind of giving a little bit of background, because there might be somebody who's watching and you might be wondering whether or not the anthology is a place for you, right? So what happens is I want to say September through December, I start recruiting for the following year's anthology. Every year we work on a writing project and we work on it together. The year before this, we kind of met a little bit more frequently. This year I did something a little different. I said, let's try to see what we can do monthly with monthly meetings. And these ladies, along with Mary Hale and Tiffany Harris, they answered the call and we came together to create a project that I think everybody is going to love. It's called From Tragedy to Triumph, From Tragedy to Triumph. And so we are going to be releasing it at the gala this year. So it is still available for pre-order. You guys can see any of these ladies here. To get a pre-ordered copy, it's only going to be $20 for your pre-order. And I am excited about it. And so what I want to do is just kind of take this question, put this question on the floor, and each one of you ladies can feel free to answer it. What made you want to participate in this particular cohort, on this particular project? What made you say, you know what, I think this is the one for me? Sharon, let's start with you.
When you reached out and asked about it, I immediately jumped at it. I think that there's so many, for me, I just know that there's so many people that have a story. Everybody has a story to tell, and everybody has been through something or some things or going through some things. And I just thought that it was a good opportunity to share my story, because your story is always there to help somebody else that's going to travel that same path, you know. And so I thought it was good listening to, as we met during our meetings, and listening to the other stories, and you know, it was just heart wrenching. I'm sure we cried together, you know, listening to the stories, you know, but it was just, for me, it was important to be able to share my story. And oftentimes I think it's a form of good therapy to just get it out.
That's good. That's good. Michele, what do you have to add to that?
I think I jumped on it because I feel like a lot of people have a misunderstanding about certain mental health disorders. And I think I needed to put my story out there as far as why I am a therapist, what makes me, you know, be the therapist that I am. And just mental health in the Black community is a lot of things that we don't talk about and do. And I just felt like we needed to have a voice out there to say that, yeah, we all go through stuff, but we can bounce back, we can survive, we can triumph, and it doesn't have to fully break us down. We can still move forward with our life.
I love it. And Dee, this is your second anthology. So what made you want to do yet another anthology project?
Freedom of speech.
I love it.
I tell you, I enjoyed our other project, dealing with the aftermath, that anthology. I enjoyed it so much. It was freeing. And like Sharon said, everybody has a story. I have a lot of stories. And I think through the years, I didn't hold them in on purpose. I just, as you say, life was lifing, family, children, young adulthood, middle age, getting things done, focusing on other people. And there were so many stories that I didn't tell. And some of them I'm just telling my children now as they're adults. You know, I'm a very private person. I've always been that way, not secretive, but private. I've always listened to other people's stories, and people like for you to listen to their stories. People at large, humans do. And so I would listen to their stories, and in listening, I maybe would tell a little bit of my story, but not much of it. And I just have found that telling about your life, whatever the things that you want to or choose to, is very freeing. And so I wanted to do this one and tell a couple of more stories, whether they're old stories or new stories. They're still stories of my life. And I just wanted to get it out there.
Well, I love it. I love it. And the times that we share, they were really intimate moments. And I think that that's one of the experiences that the anthology brings. It gives you that atmosphere to be able to be vulnerable, right? And to Michele's point, to be able to share without judgment, share freely, you know, and get it out. And so, Michele, you are the new author of the group. As you were writing the stories, because here was what was hilarious to me. Guys, let me tell you, Michele is a wonderful writer, right? And she's like, I don't know if this is good. Like, she would keep saying, I don't know if this is good. Like, we're all like blown away by her contributions. And she's like, okay, but I did this like in an hour, so I wasn't sure if this was good. So, Michele, what about the writing process did you find to be maybe surprising for you?
I think just the ease that it came with. I think it's again a topic I'm passionate about, very passionate about, because it's, you know, I wrote about something that's very close to my heart, very dear, and very definitely not something I have shared a lot about. So I think just knowing that it was going to target an audience of people who really would have no idea, and just really hopefully take this and see that, again, therapists are people too. Like, we go through stuff just as much as you do. And I always tell people, just because I sit on this side of the desk and somebody gave me a piece of paper to say I can do it, doesn't mean that I'm above going through something. So it just, I don't know, it just, things just kind of came to me easily because of the topic that I wrote about.
That's awesome. And I think we are going to actually share some of the topics that we discussed without giving everything away. Is that fair to do, ladies? So like that way people can kind of know, again, because until I want to say August 1st, so they still have a couple weeks to pre-order. So this way we can kind of start talking a little bit and giving them a little bit of a sneak preview of what they'll find inside of the book, From Tragedy to Triumph. And Sharon, when Michele was talking about, therapists being people too, I saw you kind of nodding your head, because being a chaplain is kind of in that same industry, the same field, right? So when you started writing your topic, so tell everybody, because we did 2 portions, right? So again, it's from tragedy. So we talked about some tragic moments to triumph. So we talked about triumphant moments, and some people chose to kind of string those 2 together. So let's just talk about the tragic moments for right now. Like, what gave you, I don't know if I want to say inspiration or courage to write the piece that you wrote about for the tragedy?
It was tough. Originally, my original topic that I was going to write on, I started writing, but I kept being led back to this one particular tragedy that happened in my life. And I mean, I've lived through many tragedies, many, several things, but this particular one, I think it was the hardest one. It was the most difficult one for me in my life, especially at that point in my life when it happened. And so as I began to think on it, because it's not, I think about it every day, actually. This is something that, you live through a tragedy and it's with you. It never goes away. And the person that it happened to was extremely, extremely close to me. And so very dear to my heart. And so there's not one day that goes by that this person is not on my mind. My sister, my oldest sister. And so she's on my mind every single waking day. And because of that, it's always fresh to me. And as I began to think on it, and I just began to write, just writing and just jotting little things down. And it led me into just writing about it as much as I could. And it was tough. There were many days I had to stop. Many times I had to stop and, collect myself. But, it was a tough thing to do, but I'm glad I was able to do it. And so it was a lot, and it was good therapy. It was good therapy for me.
Yeah.
I love that. It's something that you said that I kind of want to bring out, and I'm going to let the other 2 ladies talk about your contributions as well. But you talked about, like, Michele kind of mentioned the ease of it. You said how it kind of directed you, or you kept going back to something. Did you all find that as you were writing, that the story kind of started writing itself? Like, did you find it that you really had to try to force it to happen, or did it kind of seem like it was naturally, the story started to tell itself? Dee, let's start with you with that question.
Yes, my 2 chapters, one of them I've changed like several times because it wasn't flowing. And it wasn't. And I'm like, this is too difficult. Not the process of writing, just the topic, I guess. And so the topics that I did choose to write on, they flowed better, more easily. Even if I didn't know the wording, I knew what I wanted to say out of my mind. And it was just a matter of getting it on paper. But I think I haven't been a writer that long, Toneal, but I think I needed to write something that would absolutely flow easier and not just feel like such a burden. And I don't mean a burden in the subject. I mean a burden of actually doing it. Because I've kind of had some stuff going on this year, so I didn't really need any burdens. And I wanted the writing to be a joy. And not a job. Although, Yeah.
And I think the other ladies can kind of like understand what you're saying. It being a joy, not saying that the subject matter was something that made you smile, but it wasn't burdensome. How did you feel about it, Michele? Like when you started writing, was it something that you really had to work hard to make happen, or did you find that the story kind of started telling itself?
I think the story kind of told itself as I got into it more. Of course, again, the topic of it is very hard for me, again, being what it was, because of who the person was to me. It was difficult, that part, but the telling of the story, no, because again, I feel like it's a story that needs to be told. So in the way in which you encouraged us and guided us with writing, I think that helped a lot to give direction to it. And once I kind of envisioned the audience of who I'm writing for, then I think that helped make it a lot easier what I wanted them to take away from it. So that helped a lot in writing the story.
See, now you made me think of another question. I promise I'm gonna ask you indeed the same thing, but you made me think of another question. And I don't want to forget it. So, like, what did you find to be the most beneficial part to being part of the anthology? Because at the end of the day, all of you ladies wrote stories that were near and dear to your hearts, right? But there had to be, because this is the first time that you're doing something, specifically you, Michele, that you're doing something to this magnitude. And so, like, what did you find? And the other two ladies, you guys think about your answers as well. What did you find to be the most beneficial part of being part of an anthology?
Oh, definitely the solidarity among Black women. I'm Black girl all day, like that's my thing. And one of the things that I have been strongly advocating in my business and just life in general is a return to the Black woman strength that we used to have among gathering together, sharing stories, encouraging one another, and really being in that vein of it's not jealousy. We I can hear your struggles and I can hear your successes and I can help you, or I can help promote you and help get you there, and just help support you and just tell you, yeah, good job, like I'm here for you, I got you, like I'm proud of you. We don't do that enough. So being a part of something that was a corporate thing, it just showed just how we can work together with one another. And I love when we met and we were all like, no, well, what about this and what about that? Like, it was just so empowering there. And I think if we could do more of that and really return us to the way it used to be, or as close to that, where we were supporting one another as Black women, I think there's nothing that can stop us, because these young girls out here, they need that again. We're losing them. We are losing them. So we need us older ones, us more mature ones, to get back together to show them that this is the way to do that. I'll get off my soapbox.
I love that. I love that. Sharon, what about you? What made you, because as you said, we did publish together, but it was an individual work. And so this time is a little bit different because you came to be part of a group. So what did you find to be advantageous about participating within a group setting?
I would echo what Michele said, really. It was the collaboration, it was the ability to be heard and to listen at the same time. It also gave me a sense of getting to know a little bit more about each one of the ladies that participated, things that I took to heart that they shared that, will come out in the book, and some that may not even be written. And so I value that. And again, I'm like Michele, I value the strength of women, especially when we can come together and be with one accord and not the stereotypical version of women, especially Black women, positive women, encouraging like minds, women of faith. And so I can really, really appreciate that. Even the feedback, hesitant to share certain parts of the story, and yet, share it. So you crack the whip, share the story. And so we shared, and we were able to receive feedback, constructive criticism. It was very little, because I think everybody just did such a wonderful job at just pouring into their part of the story.
Absolutely. And D, you are a return contributor. So for you, you could have been like, you know what, we did dealing with the aftermath and I'm good. I got that experience. But you were like, you know what? I want to come back and contribute to this. So what do you find to be advantageous about participating in in the anthology projects?
I just high five what Michelle and Sharon said. Us women, Black women coming together and leaning on each other and sharing things with each other behind the scenes, and then it's going to come forth to to the big scene, to the big screen. It's been wonderful. It's been amazing, and we don't do it enough. I have friends. I have girlfriends. Friends I've had for a long time, and we do things together. And I'm sure each of us do. But this is different. Writing together, not necessarily together, but as an anthology.
Mhm.
I think you and I said it earlier. We're better together.
Yeah.
It's like we're different. We live in different locales, different professions and vocations, and entrepreneurs, some not. We're different, but we're really the same.
Mhm.
And when we realize we're more alike than more different, our stories and our backgrounds may be different, but deep inside, we're the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitively echo all of that you ladies have said. Whether you look at it from an APS perspective and our mantra being "We are better together," or I'm glad to be a woman perspective, and it's if you're a woman, you belong here. I think that just being able to give a space to be heard, giving a space to you're being a teacher and a student all in the same space, right? You're able to share what you have, but also be poured into. And I just, I like to bring this to the forefront because there are always people that I hear all the time that say, I really want to tell my story, but I don't know how. Or I really want to tell my story, but I don't know where to start. And so some of these questions I want to ask so that I can let people see that it's not an intimidating process. I think sometimes when you think about coming together with people that you may not personally know to share your story, it may seem overwhelming or even intimidating. But if you focus on like what Dee said, like let's focus more on our commonalities as opposed to our differences. At the end of the day, whatever this topic is, whatever this theme is, and that's a great segue because I'm going back to y'all in that question. But that's what unites you. Like everybody that participated in this project had a tragedy that they could bring to light and life, and they had a triumph that came out of it. And sometimes I think that this was also what was great. You may not have realized that you came out of it. Like somebody gave you to see, but look, you on the other side of that thing. You're like,
Right.
girl, Charlotte, so it was like those type of moments that really made it great. And right before I go into asking those questions, I do want to acknowledge everybody that's watching. So Rochelle, to Nikki, to everybody that's on, thank you all so much for coming on. Again, be sure to like and share the video. Tag some people that you believe that would benefit from this broadcast. So tag people who may want to be authors, people who talk about writing their stories, people who love Deatrice, Sharon, and Michelle. Tag them too, because they get a chance to hear them talk. Because a lot of us, we're so busy living life that many times we don't get a chance to stay in front of the camera, and just because you may not see us live all the time doesn't mean that we're not actually living life. And so like I know like Michelle and I had talked for a long time before the first time we actually saw each other, right? And it's the same thing. It's like once you kind of come in the same room with each other, it's just really so much of a warming experience. And so let's go back to that original question that was posed, which was like, in sharing your story, because again, Dee, and I'm gonna bring this to you now. You talked about how you kind of had to change it a lot until you got the right story. How did you know that the subject matter that you picked, that this is it?
because although it was something that happened a long time ago, it kept presenting itself. It kept coming back. I was like, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. But it kept resurfacing. In this venue, in this arena, it just kept resurfacing. And so I was like, well, let's do it. It's in the past. I'm over it, but I can look back and maybe it will help somebody else. And so the main answer to your question is that it just kept resurfacing. So I was like, I need to talk about this.
I love that. And that actually is great to kind of transition to Michele, who is our resident therapist, like the fact that it kept resurfacing, right? So Michele, like with you, I want to also kind of ask that question too, like how did you, because your contribution is very personal. And so like, how did you know that, not just know that this is it, but like, how were you able to come to terms with saying, that now I'm ready to share?
Because now I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm more mature about it, I'm more understanding of it. I've been in my field for a good long while now, and I've seen so much. I purposely put myself in different situations of trainings and just dealing with a lot of different populations. So I understand the need of it now. I understand that it's a desperate cry to get some more understanding within our community about mental health and faith. There's such a disparity with that we condone, we almost condemn people within the Black church and within our church fields of just going to therapy. And I heard a lot growing up, oh, you just gotta pray, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm, as a minister, I wholeheartedly advocate that, but I also understand and promote therapy as well, because I just don't feel like you can just pray if you don't have some understanding too about, okay, what this thing is that I'm going through. Like, why am I this way, or what is contributing to making me this way? Because I could be in church and just be mean all the time. And you talk about, okay, you got a bad spirit and whatnot, but why is that? Where is that coming from? And yes, there are a lot of things that are spiritual, but there's some things that are just natural that you just need to understand that you went through as a child, and you've carried those things, and you've never gotten understanding, you've never gotten healing. So for me to put this story out now, it's a clarion call to wake up, to let's really start talking about these things, and let's not just push people away with just, oh, go pray. Let's help get people some understanding as to why and what's really going on, and then we can really bring healing. Then we can have a whole church that can reach out to the community and do some other things.
Y'all see how come this was powerful to have these women together on this project? You see what I'm saying? Like, because myself, I am a mental health advocate as well, because I survived depression and some other, different things that, again, like you said, we don't talk about it all the time. And I think that all of us are a part of, when I say a church community, I don't necessarily mean going to church, more so than being believers. And I think that we do have to normalize the understanding that you can use Jesus and a therapist. Like, it should not be either or, but both and. And for me, I definitely try to, use various platforms to bring that into the forefront. So Sharon, I want to kind of come back to you now, because you were saying about becoming a chaplain. And I know that you're also a minister. So like, from that same type of perspective, like, how do you think that it can help people, therapy? How do you think that therapy is able to help people in their everyday lives, even when they say, for those who say, well, I go to church, so I don't need a therapist?
Well, again, I would have to echo what Michele said. But in addition to that, I think that I can say for myself and many other people, we've always found an outlet which served as a form of therapy. We didn't know to go and talk to somebody. We didn't know to go and seek professional help.
Yep.
We found ways to deal with it because, as it's already been stated, especially in the African American community, minority communities, it's kind of taboo. You don't go and talk to a therapist. You're not crazy. You don't need a therapist. And then on the side of the church, you pray about it. But I've always believed, even before I learned a little bit more and grew a little bit more in God, I've always believed that talking about it is one form of help. Having an outlet is another form of help. But getting to the root of it is what's going to help you. And so if we don't take time to get to the root of the matter, then all we do is talk about it and continue to cycle, continue to go through these different things. I've been a functioning depressant before, so I know what it's like to be depressed. I know what it's like to put a smile on my face and to square my shoulders, and even in my own household, not letting the people that I live with, my children, my husband, my family, know how I'm really feeling on the inside. And so I've always found an outlet and never really had the right person, I should say, to talk to, the professional person that I needed to vent to. You always have somebody that you can talk to, but some things are just so deep in there that, and it messes with your psyche, that you need to be able to go and talk to somebody that you don't know, professional, especially if you can find, as a Christian counselor or Christian therapist, then it really helps. But if not, and I tell people all the time, if you don't want spiritual help, make sure you go and get some professional help. Both are great, but do one or the other. Go get you some help either way, because you got to have an outlet. You got to have someone that can help you to get to the root of the matter.
I love that. And it's so, y'all know I don't believe in coincidence, but it's just so timely that as you were talking about the professional help and the church and things like that, I call her affectionately Mama Joyce, but Joyce A. Graham just joined. And I just want to say a hello to her. She wrote a book called Mental Health in the 21st Century Church. And, the fact that so many times we do this thing where it's either or it's if you're really saved, don't we kind of measure our level of salvation? If you really saved, then you don't need a therapist. Like, you just haven't been praying right. You just haven't been. And one of the things that I've been saying for a long time, and again, why it makes my soul feel good to hear other licensed people echo this sentiment, is that in the Bible, it talks about how Jesus, there are physicians, and there's a scripture that says it's not the well that needs a physician, but the sick. Yet, for whatever reason, we always attribute the sick to only referencing physical sicknesses, physical illnesses. And if you really are a scholar for all of those, biblical people, you will see that there were people in the Bible who had mental issues, mental health issues. And I'm bringing this up, and just so you guys know, our entire anthology was not about mental health issues. Like, this was not a book about mental health issues, but this is just a topic that we all kind of gravitated towards. So I just want to bring it to the forefront. And I think I would be remiss if I have a therapist, and if I have, a chaplain, and if I, with Dee, and I'm going to pose the next question to her, like, people who this is what we do, to not give that sense of encouragement to seek help, like, and that there is nothing wrong, like, just in your regular life, take the mental health off of it. As women, let's go back to that. As women, a lot of times we take on so much, and I'm not going to say that we're prideful, but it's like a thing where we are so used to taking everything on ourselves. We don't need help. We got it. I got it. And the fact of the matter is that you don't always have it. And that's okay. And it should be okay to say that it's okay. But to Dee, I want to transition, because Sharon said, there were times where she would just find an outlet. So maybe she didn't go and seek professional help, but she would just get an outlet. And one of the things I know that you do is you sing. And so I want to know, like, is singing, is that an outlet for you? Or is that just another, that's just another talent that you have? Or did singing start out as an outlet for you to kind of eliminate or help you to deal with some of the things that was going on in life?
Oh, it's most definitely an outlet. I've been singing pretty much all my life. The first half of my life, I was in every choir I could get in. That was church, school, community, or whatever. And I thought I was doing it because a talent, or you can harmonize or whatever. But the older I got, the more it became an outlet. And there was a while in my life, due to some medical issues, that I didn't sing, that I couldn't sing. And when I got my voice back, I mean, I could speak and talk just normally, but I really couldn't sing like I could before. And when I got my voice back, oh my goodness, did it ever become an outlet? And then it became more for me, and more a way to talk to God and to praise God. And then, of course, I started singing on Monday Morning Music Moments. And I that was kind of for me as well, although I was sharing it with the people, I guess. And then the people started liking it as well and enjoying it, and it was uplifting. So it was twofold. It was twofold. Just bringing it back around, just like writing these books and writings to come. It's for the public to get awareness, enjoyment, or whatever they get out of your book, whatever you write. But it's also for you. So that outlet, that one outlet, is for myself as well as for others.
Now, I have a habit of setting you up. So that means that before we end the show, I'm going to give you a moment to think of a song. And if you can't think of one, I got one that I'm thinking about. But, just be thinking about a song, because before we leave, I'm going to have you share your gift with the world, because I know Michele kind of wants to hear a song as well. So, I always have a reason. There's always a method to the madness. But I'm going to do something right now that I don't think I've ever done on an inspirational talk with Toneal. And I am going to yield the floor, and I'm going to allow each woman to ask someone on the floor a question that was not asked during our time together with anthology meetings. But what is, and you can pick who you want. You don't necessarily have to ask everybody a question. Each woman here can pick a woman on the panel to ask a question to. Now, here's the thing. You can't ask the same person a question. So that means that you got to think of a question for each person, just in case by the time it comes to you, that person has already been selected. And this is kind of one of the ways that you get to know each other too, right? And you get to learn each other. But this is an inspirational talk with Toneal first, guys. I am allowing you to kind of come in, and you all are going to ask questions. And so who am I going to start with? Let's go with Sharon. Who are you going to pick? So pick a woman on the panel. What's a question that you would like to ask her?
I'll start with Michele. So Michele, what would you say was the most liberating part of you writing your story?
Finally letting go, I feel, of the last part of grief.
Oh, that's good.
Just like,
Wow.
I feel like with the person I wrote about, it's just, I've held, grief, I always tell people, grief takes as long as it takes. Mm-hmm. And it can go for years, and you can feel like you're done with it, and something will hit, and just, you feel that wave all over again. So it's not to say that I won't miss this person, because I always will. Mm-hmm. But it's like it lifted that last bit of heaviness that was associated with her loss. So, and I feel like regardless of the topic about her, I feel like she'll be proud of me for telling it and getting it out there, and using her as a shining example and a way to begin the conversation about this thing.
That's so good. That's so wrong for y'all to have me crying on camera. That's okay though. That's all right. So Michele, now it's your turn to pose a question.
I think I'm actually going to pick Miss Sharon. As a pastor, and you've heard me say about how, we've talked about the mental health and the faith part. I hate to keep going back to that, but that's just my baby. How would you approach beginning to change the narrative around mental health and faith?
Well, as I stated a little while ago, I've always believed that people needed beyond just, first of all, let me back up a little bit, because I have to say this. I think that people gave us what they had.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have therapy.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have licensed therapists to go to. They didn't have licensed counselors to go to. They didn't have that. They didn't have access to that, I should say. And so starting from, so those that I would call generals, those that I would say are matured, many have gone on, passed on, have died out, and so they gave us what they had. All they knew to say was to pray. All they knew to say was to read your Bible. All they knew to say was, talk to your minister, talk to your pastor about it. And then, but that person in leadership, they can only give what they had. And so I don't want anybody to think that we're demeaning or knocking anybody over the head or downing anybody. People can only give you what they have. But fast forwarding now, I mean, now therapy is so available now. Insurances are paying for therapy. People are able to afford going to therapy now. And so I would say, to answer your question, I would, to change the narrative, and I've always said, you need to get some help. Get you some professional help. Yes, please pray. Let's pray. Let's pray with you. Find somebody, ask God to give you somebody that you can talk to, but you need to go and get you some professional help. And I've always believed that from a young child. I've always believed that there was something else that we needed to add to it. Not saying that God is not able to do any and everything, but God gives us these resources for a reason. And so because of that, that's still my horn. I'm still tooting that same horn, that go get you some help. Reach out to somebody professional help, somebody that can listen to you objectively, somebody that doesn't know your story, somebody that you can go to and just let it all out. If you do nothing else but just talk, and they let you just talk until you begin to feel healing, because as I said earlier, we found outlets, but it was temporary. It's a temporary fix. And so I think that the more you talk about it, and as you said, when you answered my question, just finalizing the grief, so to speak, the more you can get it out, you will eventually, peel back those layers and get to the root of the matter. And so I'll continue to encourage people to seek professional help. But again, as a Christian, I would suggest a Christian counselor or a Christian therapist.
I love it. I love it. All right, Ms. D, the floor is yours. Who are you going to ask a question to?
I'm going to ask Michele. That's okay.
Go ahead. Go for it.
I would like to ask you, Michele, as you were writing and post-writing, at least for this book, did you feel yourself changing as you were writing?
Oh, wow.
And then after you finished writing, did you feel some changes in yourself? And do you think that will continue in the future as you write more?
Yeah, I think, and I think we already said it, writing is so therapeutic and so cathartic. Like, it is the best way to really get out. I often encourage my clients to write almost everything out. Most people hate journaling, but that's really where you can really go back and read and really see how you feel about things. When you free write, it's just like, it just comes out of you. There's no real thinking to it in the moment. And when you go back, you start to see like, oh, wow, like I really feel this way about this thing or what have you. So writing about my topic and hearing you guys write about your stuff and whatnot, you can't help but be more empowered and changed and more stronger as a woman, as a person. And just, you feel like, okay, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
This is like, wait, okay, I went through something hard for me, but guess what? So did they. And look at these women. They're strong. They're standing up. They're doing their thing. And we're led by a strong woman over there. That one in the corner up there, like, that's my girl too. So it's like, you can't help but get more empowered by that. So yeah, the writing process is it's like I said, it helped me lift that last bit of that hard grief. So yeah, definitely changed. And do I see myself doing it more in the future? Absolutely. There's about 4 or 5 in this head that I just need to start getting down. I need Toneal to come on and whip me in the shape. But yeah.
I'm coming to North Carolina.
Come on.
I love it. I love it. And ladies, you know what? It does not seem like it. And I think this is how it was in our actual meetings too. This time flies by. Do you know it's almost been an hour?
Oh,
It
wow.
doesn't seem like it. And I think like when we were doing our meetings, so many times I would have to let us know, oh, yep, it's about time, y'all. It's time to start wrapping it on up. And so to everyone who has tuned in, thank you all so much. And continue to tag people who, again, you believe you guys have sat through this interview. And so you understand where we went with it. And so tag somebody that you believe would really be able to benefit from listening to this again. Again, a lot of times people are going through things, they're going through life. Life is life, and life is hard. Life can be overwhelming, but they can make it. And so we want to make sure that you get some people in the room who could benefit from this conversation. Also, anybody that just want to see us look cute, because Sharon, Michelle, D, they was all looking, they was looking how they be looking all the time. And so get them in the room. D, you better be thinking about this song, because I'm trying to tell you I ain't done with you. I forget. And so I do though want to hold on, let me put this like so. So Robin said, yay, Michelle, she's so proud of you. That is awesome. That's what I'm talking about. And so we have to understand that, it is necessary. Having conversations like these are necessary. Having platforms to have conversations like these is necessary. And so whether it's a talk show, whether it's an anthology, or even a song, make sure that you find that outlet. As Sharon said, get some professional help and stop thinking of it as a derogatory comment, when someone says get professional help, because at the end of the day, there are times when that's what's needed. It's the same way as, I tell people all the time, when you're writing your manuscript, getting your mom or your best friend to read it is not the same as having a professional editor to review it and to give feedback. So it's the exact same situation, and this isn't a paper, this is your life. So yes, it's great to have people you can vent to, but it's so much better if you can have someone who is licensed, who is certified to, as Michelle and Sharon said earlier, help you get to the root of the problem, because that's how you're going to actually come up with your permanent solution. And so as we bring this show to a close, I'm going to start with Miss Sharon. If you all have 2 things I'm asking for, well, is it 3? It's 3 things. So first of all, give people how they can connect with you. And then if you have any upcoming announcements or projects, and then your final encouraging word. So those 3 things as we close out the show.
Okay, again, I am Sharon Lockhart, and you can follow me on social media, Facebook, under my name, Sharon Lockhart, Lockhart. Also, CCW, which is Circle of Christian Women, and Coach with Lee. I am on Instagram and all those other social media outlets, but not as much as Facebook for right now. The only other thing I would like to say is that this is, again, working with you, Toneal, it's always an amazing experience. And I would encourage anybody. I've told people about you, they said, I want to write. I've had people say, oh, you wrote a book, I want to write a book. And I say, hey, I got the person for you. You are an inspiration. You do a marvelous job at encouraging and just helping to guide us along as we write. For the other ladies, it's a pleasure working with you. I look forward to many projects with you. I can't wait to, even though I heard part of your story, I can't wait to get the book in my hand to actually read everybody's individual story and just go and be blessed.
I love it. I love it. All right, Miss Michelle, how can they contact you? Any upcoming announcements or events? And what is your final encouraging word?
Okay. My name is Michele Girard. I'll put my name in the comments so because a lot of people misspell it. I'm primarily on Facebook. I am not the social media guru the rest of these ladies are. So
I'm not either.
Facebook is pretty much where it is, and good old email or phone. That's the best way for me. I would love to connect with all of you who are watching. If I don't already have you, I would love to connect with Miss, you said Miss Joyce Graham wrote that book. I would love to connect with her.
Absolutely. She is
And
so
begin.
incredible. You would love her. She's out of
Okay.
St. Louis, but you would love Joyce. But go ahead.
Okay, I'd love. We got to make it work. I'm always an advocate of having. I would love to have more of these conversations. So as far as upcoming events, I'm going to redo and restart my bridge seminars. I'll be doing a lot of it more online. We'll just be talking about mental health and faith, just teaching about the different mental health disorders, how they play out in your everyday, and how they can impact your faith walk, and how we can utilize the scriptures in everyday life to really help you get to that next level of God that we're all trying to get through. Because let me tell you something, most people have anxiety of some sort. So learning how to really navigate that and manage that and really apply the scriptures to that was really, really helpful. My encouraging words to everyone is to own you. Own your experiences, own what you've been through, own your education about it, so that no one can tell the story better than you can. It doesn't matter what anybody says about you. It's a matter of what you believe and what you know to be true. It's not what you're called, but what you answer to. So I've been through a lot, and I don't care what people say about me anymore. The older I get, the less I care. So, you may know part of my story, but you still don't know me. You know who I used to be, but you still don't know me now. You don't know the me of the future. You don't know me that God knows. So own you completely wherever you are in life. Know yourself from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, so that no one else can ever come through and demean you or unacknowledge you, because you already own you. I'm fully % owned. I own Michele 100%. So you can't tell me anything I don't know about me. I know me. You're a prophet now. Okay, I ain't gonna mess with them. But but no, I just definitely want to say to really just learn yourself, love yourself, believe in yourself, and get you a friend. Black ladies, let me tell you, you still need friends. We still need to support one another. We need to get together, have lunch, have tea, just talk, because even more than getting professional help, outside of that, you still need friends. We got to stop this isolation stuff that we're doing.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Joyce, I see your message. Yes, ma'am. And the last thing I have to do is, Joanne and Julie Girard, I am proud of you. My sisters were bullying me this whole time I've been up here, and I want them to know I am proud of them as much as I am with any other lady up here, and I love them. Okay.
I love it. I love it. So, D, there's a reason why I left you last. So tell everybody how I connect with you.
Sing the song.
Let us know if you got something coming on. Go ahead and leave your final remark. But then you also got to close with a little snippet. You got to give it ain't got to be the full song, but
right. I'm Deatrice Carter, and I am pretty much on all forms of social media. I mainly use Deatrice Carter. That's my main source on Facebook. Everywhere else, it's all things Deatrice. And that was a struggle coming up with that. That's a whole nother story, because everyone all my life has always mispronounced my name. So coming up with my logo and brand and everything of all things Deatrice, I had to be talked into that by some people. But I'm loving it now. And it's only because, and Toneal, because people mispronounce your name too. And so all things Deatrice, you can find me under that on most forms of social media. I'm going to get to it's going to be just a little short, little song, little snippet. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to sing it. But my parting words is for all of us, and it kind of ties into what I'm going to talk about just quickly before the song, is to deal with your past so that your past can stop dealing with you. I'm talking to myself, and I'm talking to everybody. Deal with your past, the good parts and the bad parts, so it can stop dealing with you. And the older I get, the more I really, really get that. And I'm saying that because as a child, I was a serious child. I was an old child. I grew up around old people. I was a late life child. So I played with the kids and played jacks and hopscotch and had fun and all that stuff. But I was a serious child. I always felt like I had to take care of other people. And I think that's because by the time I was 8, I was very, very, Michele, acquainted with grief and death. I had so much death in my family before I was even 8 years old, starting with my father passing away when I was 4 months old. So I never knew him. So I was this serious child when I wasn't out playing. And the song that I'm going to sing, and if there's another one, I'll sing it for you another time, Toneal. But the song that I was going to sing was a song that brought me much joy in my childhood when I was very small. And the creator of the song, Mr. Rogers, brought me great joy in my childhood. And so as I was dealing with all these deaths, aunts and uncles, grandma, father, when I say aunts, I mean aunts, my father's sisters, just so many people, Mr. Rogers just blessed my soul.
You better come talk about him.
And he still does when I hear him and when I hear this song. So it's, y'all know this song is so short. So let's go. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day for a beauty wood. A neighborly day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I've always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please, won't you be my neighbor? So I'm going to say good night, neighbors.
I never knew the words to that.
I love it. Thank you, ladies, so much. And if y'all don't have to go, stay in the back room real quick. I'm going to just end the show real quick. But thank you, ladies, so much for coming on. It has been such a pleasure, not just tonight, but with the entire experience. And don't forget, everybody that is watching, you guys can talk to either Deatrice, Sharon, Michele, and even Mary, Hale, and Tiffany Harris to pre-order your copies of From Tragedy to Triumph. And so I am thanking all of you for tuning in, all of you for watching. And do not forget, for the remainder of these next 4 weeks, every week I will be interviewing one of the honorees for or from the 7th annual APS Awards Gala. And next week, guys, I am so ecstatic about these two. Next week, she has been watching all show long. We are interviewing our MVPs. I have 2. These are people who are deemed to be the most valuable people to our organization, Artists Promoting Success. And they are in the persons of Miss Tracy R. Kincaid, who is a double honoree this year. She is not only the APS MVP, but she is also a finalist for the Indie Singer of the Year award. But next week, she's coming on solely with that MVP hat on, and she will be joined by Ms. Mary Jackson Millsap. Those are our 2 MVPs, and they will be who will be joining us next week. So I'm asking that you all please mark your calendars. Be sure to tune in every Thursday from now through August 17th. We are going to be live with a different set of honorees. And do not forget to purchase your tickets, guys. The 7th annual APS Awards. I am so excited. I cannot believe this is year 7 already. Tickets are only $50. You can go to Eventbrite, you can go to Facebook, you can Cash App or Zelle me. Please be sure to get your tickets. Maybe you don't want to go, but you want to sponsor somebody else. Do them a favor, buy the ticket and gift them with a ticket. And we also have sponsorship opportunities available, so you can hit me up if you would like to have more information about being a sponsor. But I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in to this week's Inspirational Talk with Toneal, and in using Miss Deatrice, would you be my neighbor? Hello, neighbor, and good night, neighbor. I love you guys so much. You all have a blessed rest of your evening.